Johnny Gargano to AEW update. Also, Karrion Kross pretty much reveals something I think we all know. AEW pretty much killed WWE, NXT. And on top of that, we have some rumors about a potential new Paul Heyman guy, when he might debut, who it might be. I'm going to tell you guys what I think in this video. So if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget, click that subscribe button. And if you guys want to join a community of pro wrestling fans just like yourself, you can go ahead and chat with them. Click the link in the description down below. Check out our Discord server. Really awesome stuff. And you could become a member on the channel starting at $1.99. With that being said, we're going to kick things off talking about the Wednesday Night Wars. As you guys know, AEW essentially beat NXT in the Wednesday Night Wars, something I never really believed in. If you guys check the old videos, I was pretty much in belief that it didn't really matter. It was BS. But nonetheless, Karrion Kross did an interview with Renee Young. And you guys know I feel very strongly about her work as a podcaster, as a backstage announcer in WWE. I always thought she was great, and it really sucked when she left WWE. Now this interview comes out, and there was a little part of this interview that I just found very interesting. But a lot of this I feel like has to be planted because of AEW, right? And let's just get to it. So Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux are on the podcast, and one thing that was said was, as it was explained to me, it's two separate entities. NXT really couldn't interfere, expand, or even be involved with anything that was going on in the main roster from a creative standpoint. Now keep this in mind. This is very interesting stuff because NXT was always considered originally as a developmental brand. Once AEW came around, I would say maybe a year or two before that, that's when NXT really started to hone in as the third brand. Now, obviously, perception is everything, so you might have a different perspective than me. But it was very clear when NXT went back to NXT developmental, as in NXT 2.0, we are starting to see some of the same stuff that we saw from NXT in 2012, 2013, that type of thing. Now, the reason why I'm actually bringing this up, though, and the reason why it's actually so important to me is because now Grayson Waller shows up on WWE Raw. Now, if you guys watch my videos, you know that I primarily cover WWE, AEW, and Impact. Grayson Waller is a developmental talent who right now is in a feud with AJ Styles. I'm actually intrigued by it. I'm kind of enjoying it, but we never saw anything like this before. Yes, we saw NXT involved with Survivor Series at one point, but other than that, we never really saw too much NXT involvement on the main roster. This tells me that WWE is completely done with the idea of being a third brand for NXT, meaning NXT is going back to its roots as a developmental brand because AEW proved that WWE fans pretty much don't want professional wrestling. WWE fans and their core audience don't really, yes, they watch pro wrestling, but for the most part, they are into the sports entertainment aspect. Obviously, AEW's platform brings in a lot of that hardcore pro wrestling audience. NXT was the closest thing from WWE's history to being a pro wrestling product, similar to what AEW is. And AEW defeated NXT on those Wednesday Night Wars, further proving the statement that AEW pretty much killed NXT. That's going to be a big statement to make, but I want to see what happens going forward because I think NXT 2.0 could be a really good thing for WWE. Obviously, a lot of people don't agree with me. A lot of people hate when I say that, but that's just my personal feeling. Also, now we got to talk a little bit more about NXT. Tommaso Ciampa, is he going to be the next Paul Heyman guy? Now, the reason why I'm asking this is because, well, Fox, WWE on Fox tweeted out, about mentoring a, NXT talent for Paul Heyman. And Tommaso Ciampa responded with a GIF of himself. Now, the reason why I brought this up and the reason why I think this is super interesting is because there has been a lot of reports that WWE Day 1 pay-per-view is going to have a massive, massive surprise, and it is going to be something that is very significant for the future of WWE. And there is this huge belief that Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, whatever happens here, this is going to lead to something special. And I have a very strong feeling with Paul Heyman and the way he's been positioned in this storyline with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. I think Paul Heyman is actually going to introduce a new Paul Heyman guy. And I think whoever or however this show ends, it's going to be with the debut of a new Paul Heyman guy. Now, I do think Tommaso Ciampa would be a fantastic Paul Heyman guy, but it scares me. I'm not going to lie because obviously he's coming from NXT. But Tommaso Ciampa obviously putting out that tweet furthered this feeling that I started to get. Also, I really want to mention too, if I'm WWE, and I get it, a lot of people, they don't a lot of you guys who watch my videos, you might not watch NXT 2.0, but it is clear to me that Braun Breaker is going to be a future star in WWE. It almost makes me curious if WWE has plans to pull to pull him into the main roster and start putting him on there, because if that's the case, if that is honestly, genuinely the case, if that's the plan, I am very anxious to see what happens there, because I personally think that he could be a great asset for Paul Heyman, but I don't know if Braun Breaker comes in as a babyface or as a heel. I think he's going to be a major star. I just don't know what to see. I don't know what I'm going to expect here and what we're going to see. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I want to know what you guys think. Also, guys, we have some big news. AEW. There's been a lot of rumors about Johnny Gargano going to AEW. So let's talk about Johnny Gargano. Nobody knows anything for sure. There's not a set contract that's been signed or anything like that. There's been no news or rumors based on, if he's actually signed with AEW. We all know that Johnny Gargano is taking some time off, but there is something very interesting that's floating around. And the biggest consensus here, the mass consensus here, is that if Johnny Gargano will in fact join AEW, it will be on the January 26th episode on TBS at Wolfstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio. Now, if you guys didn't know, Johnny Gargano is originally from Cleveland. The belief is that he would debut in Cleveland, and that's essentially what's going to happen. Now, keep in mind, Johnny Gargano has launched a ProWrestlingTees and a Twitch channel. So I would say the idea of him going back to WWE is pretty much a 0% chance at this point. I don't think there's any chance he goes back to WWE. Obviously, we know he's going to go become a dad, but this belief that he's going to go to AEW, this would make the most sense. I can see why everybody is saying this. It will be a very interesting thing to see happen if Johnny Gargano does go to AEW. Guys, you know what I've said about AEW signing talent. At the end of the day, I want to see them sign talent that's going to help improve their business. There really hasn't been too much of that lately, but AEW knows exactly what they're doing. Their strategy is to attack the hardcore fans and give them exactly what they want. Names like Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano. These were names that were heavily favorited in WWE NXT. Then they come to AEW, and obviously it makes a big splash because they share the same audiences. I'm very intrigued by this. I don't know what's going to happen, but the thing that intrigues me the most is as new talent come into AEW, which talent will not re-sign with the company? That's what I'm really curious about. Also, being that it's in Cleveland, if I'm AEW, I also move forward with the notion of having Wardlow split from MJF. That is Cleveland, Ohio, the birthplace of Wardlow. He is a Cleveland boy. He's an Ohio boy. So if I'm AEW, I make the split happen right then and there. That's the way I would do it. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I want to hear you guys' comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know. Don't forget, we got the Discord and we got channel memberships. You guys could join the Job Squad or the main eventers starting at $1.99 or $4.99 a month. No contract, no commitment, none of that stuff. So if you guys want to support the channel, you already know what to do. Go ahead and click that button, and I'll see you guys next time right here, youtube.com/AngoYT.